Alright guys, back with another video. So Pierre just had a little bit of a presser today when in Ottawa. And what he says here is, it's a video from him, but it was captured by CPAC, and it says, unlock our resources to put Canada first. So he's just reiterating his message here, just to continue to show that, you know, he's here to stay. He's not going anywhere. I know he lost his seat, but he'll be back. And, you know, the confidence in which he speaks shows a lot, in my opinion. And let's see what he has to say, and then we'll talk about it. But before we get into that, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really does help grow the channel. Let's have a look what Pierre has to say.
We also ran on bringing back the Canadian promise, where anyone who works hard gets a great life in a beautiful community and an affordable home. All that requires liberating the forces of our economy and our workers. Unfortunately, over the last 10 Liberal years, our economy has had the worst economic growth in the G7. We've become more dependent on the Americans, and the buying power of our workers' paychecks has declined because Liberal laws block resource development. Despite having the most resources per capita of any country on earth, we're not meeting our potential, and the recent tariffs from the United States have turned that problem into a threat and a crisis. The Prime Minister said there was a crisis that required immediate action. So what did he do today? Well, he introduced a law that will have almost no impact on interprovincial trade. It's a small step, but it is breadcrumbs when we needed a bold move. A very small amount of interprovincial barriers will be eliminated by this bill, which is better than nothing. But the tens of billions of dollars of obstacles at a provincial level are untouched because the Prime Minister has not yet incentivized the provinces to remove them. That's why we're proposing the government pay a bonus to provincial governments for every interprovincial trade barrier they remove. And we can make that cost neutral, because every time you remove an interprovincial barrier, you boost GDP and federal revenues. Why not give that money back to the provinces that do it, so that they have a powerful financial incentive, more money for healthcare and schools, to get these barriers out of the way?
And by the way, if you want like a province or a company or really anything or anyone to do things that you want, if you're the government, the best way to do it is to incentivize it. That's just how it is. You know, people say, well, how can they get things, how can we get affordable housing? Well, you sell government land that's not being used to contractors for a cheaper price, and you know, you give them a deal on that, and they're going to buy a lot of items in bulk, so they're going to get a cheaper deal than normal. They're going to have more land to build on, more projects to produce. And then what you do is you say, hey, I'm going to give you this land. How cheap can you build houses on it? And they give you a number, and if they go over that number, then you punish them with taxes. What do corporations hate, or companies in general? What do they hate? Losing money. What do they love? Making money. Okay. Incentivize them to make money, but not where you're price gouging in a way. And if they fail to meet those standards that they've agreed to, then you punish them. When companies do good, you should reward them with an incentive so that they can continue to make more money. When companies do bad things, you should punish them. Like, for example, I remember when the pandemic first started, and there was, I think it was a Shoppers Drug Mart in Toronto that was charging like triple the amount for Lysol cans as the usual price would be. And Doug Ford made a stink about it. He said he was all upset about it, and that if this kind of thing continued, he would do something about it. Now, that warning happened to be enough, and the prices went down. You see what I mean? So if you incentivize, for example, hey, oil companies, sell us our oil cheap so we can bring the gas prices down. What do we get in return? Tax break. I know people don't like to hear that. Oh, you're just going to give these rich people tax breaks. You got to do what's best for everyone. And if the rich are going to make a little bit more while we can save a little bit more, everyone wins. That's good. Or at least it's better than what we have now.
We also think the Prime Minister missed a chance with this bill to announce a Blue Seal professional licensing standard. We have 20,000 immigrant doctors, 32,000 immigrant nurses that could be reducing the wait times in our hospitals which my wife and I experienced the other day when my daughter had a very minor visit to the hospital. They treated us very well, but they're obviously understaffed, and they need more doctors. We have these doctors, so why not get a blue seal that the provinces can agree to join, and they can automatically recognize any of those doctors trained abroad that meet our high professional standards through a rigorous national test. We've already done that in the trades through the red seal. Let's do it in the professions. It makes sense. That is one way to knock down barriers between provinces. So while the government made minor baby steps, what we needed was a big breakthrough on interprovincial trade, and we will keep fighting for that. On resources. Today, the Prime Minister made a very interesting admission. He said that Liberal laws make it impossible to get anything built. And his solution to that is to allow certain politically favored projects to break those laws. So he'll say you can go around the terrible laws if you are politically favored. Why not just get rid of the laws? Yeah. He admits that they are not needed to protect the environment, or else he would not allow any projects to go around them. He admits that they block things from getting done. So isn't the solution just to get rid of the law? I mean, if you have a wall that's blocking everybody from getting where they need to go, why would you say that only a certain group of people are allowed to go around it and the rest must stand there facing that wall? Why not knock down the wall and allow us to develop our resources for real? I'll also note that the Prime Minister made a very troubling comment. I only heard it in French. I don't know if he said it in English, you might know. But he said that premiers will have a veto on resource projects and pipelines. Well, the most promising pipeline is from northern Alberta to the Pacific coast. And the NDP Premier of BC has said no to pipelines. So is the Prime Minister effectively saying we're not going to get any pipelines built? Yes. And if so, is he ceding to Donald Trump that the Americans will continue to get 80 to 90% of our energy projects products at enormous price discounts? It would appear to be the case. Now, look, Conservatives are happy to see any project, even one project, accelerated. And we will never stand in the way of even one project moving ahead because we are so desperate to see things built and Canadians working to do those projects. But we think that we need to take bold, across-the-board action for all projects. And that's why I'm announcing Conservatives will be happy to cooperate to pass a real national sovereignty law, which would repeal Liberal C-69, the canker ban, the energy cap, the industrial carbon tax, and unlock our resources with shovel-ready zones that provide pre-permitting, clear conditions, and boundaries to start building mines, hydroelectric dams, nuclear plants, LNG liquefaction facilities, pipelines, and many more projects. We cannot wait. We do not need baby steps. We need breakthroughs. And Conservatives are here to work with all other parties to get it done because we want to put...
Okay, yeah, I mean, we got the gist of it there. I mean, I don't know who still needs to hear this, but yeah, I mean, Mark Carney's giving a veto to premiers to block projects, which means the NDP premier in British Columbia, David Eby, has already said he's going to block those pipelines. So Carney's basically admitting right there that pipeline's getting blocked. And that's a disgrace. I mean, it's unreal how, they keep saying we're going to build a strong economy, we're going to get things done, we have a plan, and yet we don't hear their plan. The same promises that Trudeau made are seemingly about to be broken. And that's why we should have voted for Pierre Poilievre for Prime Minister. Now, I know I did, and a lot of you did as well, but, I mean, there's just too many people who they fell for the Carney, I don't want to call it charm, because he doesn't have charm, but they fell for the Carney, media glaze fest. I guess you can call it that. I mean, the media just propped this guy up like crazy. And people fell for it. And now they're about to suffer even more than they have in the last 10 years. And again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't want to hear any complaints if you voted for this imbecile. And now nothing's going to get better. Things are going to get worse. Projects are going to get blocked. And like Pierre said, like, if you have a wall, why not tear it down if it's in people's way? No, we're going to keep it up, and we're only going to allow our buddies and our friends to go by it. Yeah, that's kind of part of the problem. You're only going to allow products that are built from people that you like and who agree to do all your, well, anything you want. Because, I mean, let's be honest, these companies are going to play ball with the government, and therefore the government's going to play ball with those companies. And you have the same phony, crony type of corporate capitalism that you've had forever, where only some people get to make it and most don't. That's not the promise Carney made. It's the promise Pierre made. In Canada, we voted in the wrong guy. Let me know what you think about Pierre's speech. Please do not be shy. Please also do not, again, forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps grow the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back shortly.